So the question is, how do the rich not pay taxes? Okay. It's a multi-step process. Let's start with this one first, keep it small. Is here you go to school, get a job, you become an employee, but you learn nothing about taxes. Then you become a little entrepreneur. You start your little falafel shop business or whatever you start, right? So that self-employed, small business. And then you have big business, 500 employees or more, or I for investor. So Tom, how much tax do employees pay?
Well, typically if they're making a good salary, and this is, by the way, the same rates around the world, typically it's going to be about 40%.
40%. And after the Trump tax cut, did that change much?
Not much. It didn't.
So if you're I'm going to start my own little business, I'm going to, start my little pizza shop or my coffee shop, how much do these guys pay?
Well, now it goes up because you're paying both your share of the taxes plus the employer's share of the taxes because you've got both sides. So now it goes up as high as 60%.
So when you hear a young person, an old guy like me, say, I'm going to start my own business, they don't know anything about taxes, do they?
No, and in fact, this is the place where people get in trouble because over here, the money's being taken out of your paycheck. But here, you're responsible for your taxes. And so what happens is that you go, let's say you're successful with your pizza shop, right? All of a sudden, tax time comes around. Oh no, I've spent all my money and I don't have money to pay the taxes. And people go out of business real fast here.
Well, it is surprising because a lot of the millennials do want to start up their own small little business, right? And what they're not aware of is that they're going to be in the 60% tax bracket.
Because taxes are your single largest expense. So if you're going to start your own business, you got to be aware of taxes here. Mm-hmm. Now, big business has 500 employees or more. How much do they pay?
Typically around the world, about 20%.
Now, why is it that big business people pay less than small business?
Well, basically, the government wants us to do certain things, and they'll give us incentives if we do them. And what they want out of a big business is they want employment. So they want to create employment because that creates stability in the country.
Jobs,
right? And so the more jobs you create, actually the more tax benefit you get.
Well, look at Amazon right now. They're looking at moving their company. How many tax benefits are they getting?
Oh my heavens, they pay very, very little tax. Amazon does, and they pay, you talk about all those different kinds of taxes. Not only do they pay very little income tax, but they're also paying very little sales tax and employment taxes and all those others because they're getting benefits from multiple types of government, the federal government, the state government, the city government.
Is that how Elon Musk started his battery factory in Nevada?
Well, yeah. I mean, Elon Musk, he gets huge research and development tax benefits, which, by the way, that's a tax benefit that is available in most countries more than the U.S.
Right. So if you're going to stay small, I mean, it's a good place to start, but you're going to really want to come over here eventually. And then the professional investors. See, these guys are passive. These guys invest in stocks, bonds, mutual funds. They save money. They're passive guys. They pay the highest taxes. But how much does a professional investor, like Shark Tank, how much do these guys pay?
So they can pay as little as 0%.
Right.
They can actually completely eliminate their tax.
One of the biggest misconceptions out there regarding taxes is that tax breaks are only given to the wealthy. Robert had a great answer for this. Let's take a listen. Well, I think this is actually a very interesting topic for our audience because of the fact that a lot of the people complain that the only people who get tax benefits are the wealthy. And I think it's also because, like you said, it's a series of incentives of what the government wants you to do.
Yeah, and that's the mistake. It's not the wealthy. You see a lot of wealthy people here. Let's say I'm a CEO of a company, I'm making $1 million a year, I still pay 40% in tax. And I could be a doctor or a lawyer, and I could make $1 million a year. They're still paying 60% in tax. See, it's not what you do, it's your mindset in the quadrant here. So this is my poor dad, this is my rich dad. So which one do you want to be,
In this clip, Tom goes on to explain the difference between the rich and the poor.
The difference between the rich and the poor is how do they use taxes to their benefit? You look over here, you ask about the big business. Well, that's employment, right? But investors, why do professional investors get benefits? Well, because the government wants housing. They want commercial projects built. They want energy done. That's an Elon Musk,
they
right?
Want food.
They want technology. They want food, agriculture. So all of those things that the government's trying to incentivize people to put their money someplace, they really want them to put it over here. And if you put it over here, these are pretty much consumers. These are consuming the money. And the government, what they really want is they want all the producers over here.
Yeah. I had a friend who started off, he never went to school, but I think his grandma gave him 10 chickens. And they were producing 10 eggs a day. And by the time he retired, he was producing 10 million eggs a day. Did he get tax breaks for that?
An enormous tax breaks, because every dollar you reinvest in your business, you get a tax break for.
Yeah. Robert then goes into another lesson from his rich dad. And for all of you entrepreneurs, you might want to pay attention. Let's see what he said.
So the other thing that my rich dad taught me, which is this here, is since I was not a very good student in school, he just says, remember the McDonald's formula. So the reason I talk about this, McDonald's formula, this is Ray Kroc. If you saw the movie Founder, he says it right in the movie. The purpose of McDonald's business is not hamburgers. Everybody thinks it's hamburgers. McDonald's business is to buy real estate. You see, a hamburger stand produces so much income, it can afford the real estate. Well, the average guy, graduating from school with their MBA or PhD, they go, well, how come I can't do that? Well, because you're over here. So McDonald's did this here. So they had their business, which is hamburgers, bought their real estate. So today, McDonald's owns more real estate than the Catholic Church. Does the Catholic Church get tax breaks too?
Enormous tax breaks. They don't pay tax on any of their income.
Yeah. So so McDonald's competed with the Catholic Church by just building hamburgers and buying real estate. Any comments on that, Tom?
Well, the great thing is you don't have to be huge to do this, right? I mean, you can do it with your startup business, your online business, right? You guys are doing all those online businesses.
You could do it from here to here.
The tax law is ultimately fair, because you don't have to be huge in order to take advantage. What you do have to have, though, is the financial education, because you have to behave like these people. If you do what these people do, you get the same tax benefits that they get. The challenge that most people have here is that they don't have any financial education. And so they do everything as if they were up here, and that just gets them in trouble, because these guys, that's not where the tax law is built. The tax law is built for these guys over here.
Next, Robert talks about using debt to your advantage. Most people think all debt is bad, but little do they know it offers a huge tax benefit. Tom and Robert explain.
So I'm going to throw you one more thing. Again, this takes financial education. The number one asset I can use is debt. So the reason I like this place here, and get this. So let's say this is the McDonald's hamburger formula here. So I have $1 from my hamburger business plus $5 of debt. So it gives me $6. What does that mean to you, Tom?
Well, it means you're not going to pay very much tax, and it also means you're going to make a lot more money, because what debt does is it accelerates, on the plus side, if you know what you're doing, if you got the financial education, right? On the plus side, it accelerates both your income, but it also accelerates your tax benefit.
Yeah, so this is my formula here. It's the McDonald's formula, except let's say I have Rich Dad Company. I have more than Rich Dad Company. But Kim and I buy real estate with Ken McElroy, and with Tom's guidance, we do all this because we can leverage up with debt, but good debt that we don't have to pay for. These guys have bad debt, like their house, their car payments, student loans, really horrible debt. But there's good debt on this side. But you can do the same thing this way if you want to.